There was once a young boy who loved catching fireflies on warm summer nights. One evening, he ran outside with a small jar, determined to fill it with as many fireflies as he could. He raced through the field, cupping the glowing insects in his hands and ultimately dropping them one by one into his jar. Before long, the jar was alive with tiny flashes of gold light. The boy held it up so proudly, but something caught his attention. A few of the fireflies were hovering just beyond the edge of the jar. Their glow brighter and steadier than the ones inside. They darted freely through the air, lighting up the sky. The boy frowned and looked at the fireflies that were trapped in the jar. Their light seemed weaker now. They barely moved, bumping against the glass walls as if they had forgotten how to fly. Curious, he unscrewed the lid of the jar. At first, nothing happened. The fireflies stayed inside, clinging to the bottom of the jar as if it was still sealed. Why don't they leave? Don't they know they're free? It wasn't until he gave the jar a gentle shake that the fireflies finally stirred. One by one, they flew out, hesitant at first, then stronger and brighter. Soon, they were dancing across the dark sky with their light as brilliant as ever. The boy watched amazed because they didn't need the jar to hold them back. They needed to remember that they could fly. Let's talk about small thinking, the kind of thinking that quietly sneaks into our lives and has the potential to keep us stuck. It's the voice that tells you to play it safe. Don't aim too high. What if you fail? It's the voice that convinces you to stay in your comfort zone, even when you know deep down that you're capable of more. But here's the thing. Small thinking is a trap. It's a mental cage that stops you from living the life that you deserve. And the truth is, the only person that can unlock the cage you're in is you. So today, I want to share how you can break free from small thinking and start stepping into a bigger, bolder version of yourself. Let's start with recognizing the signs of small thinking. The first step to any transformation is awareness. Small thinking is subtle. It doesn't always show up as obvious negativity. Instead, it whispers. This is good enough. Why risk trying for more? People like me don't achieve things like that. What if I fail? I'll look like an idiot. These thoughts can feel so reasonable in the moment, but they are rooted in fear. They didn't come to protect you. They've come to hold you back. And what we need to do is to start by tuning in to our internal dialogue. Pay attention to the stories that you tell yourself about you and your potential. When a limiting thought pops up, don't accept it as truth. Instead, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Do I really believe that? Or am I just afraid of stepping out of my comfort zone? What's the worst that could happen if I just went for it? Most of the time, the worst case scenario isn't as scary as it seems, and your fear is just a shadow. Nelson Mandela once said, "May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears." When you recognize the limiting beliefs whispering in your mind, ask yourself whether your decisions are built on fear or hope. Choosing hope leads to possibilities, while fear only reinforces small thinking. One way to overcome small thinking is to surround yourself with big thinkers. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." If you spend your time with small thinkers, people who settle for less, criticize ambition, or focus on limitation, it's going to eventually influence your mindset. On the other hand, when you surround yourself with big thinkers, something happens. Because big thinkers don't just dream big, they act big. They have the winner swagger. They see opportunities where others see obstacles. They encourage you to aim higher. They celebrate your wins as if they were their own. So take a look at your inner circle and ask yourself, are the people in your life lifting you up or holding you down? And if you realize that your environment isn't conducive to growth, take courage. Don't be afraid to seek out new connections. Join groups, attend events, or connect with mentors that inspire you. When you're surrounded by people who think big, it's almost impossible to stay small because you will either rise to the level of their thinking or you will run away to retreat to your old way of thinking. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. This African proverb reminds us that our journey to big thinking is influenced by the people we choose to surround ourselves with. Big thinkers help us stretch beyond our limits and go further than we ever could alone. Here's one of the biggest misconceptions to thinking big. People assume it means you have to take massive, dramatic action right away. I'm a big thinker. I'm gonna tear some stuff up. Boy, if you don't sit down somewhere and chill out. Although big thinking often starts with big dreams are achieved one small, consistent step at a time. Let's say you want to build a business or write a book, run a marathon. It doesn't matter what it is. When you look at the entire goal, it can feel overwhelming. So overwhelming that many are tempted to quit before they even start. But you ain't got to focus on the finish line, baby. Focus on the first step. Maybe it's brainstorming ideas for your business. Maybe it's writing the first few sentences of your book or your theme. Maybe it's lacing up your running shoes for a 5-minute jog. Each small action builds momentum, and momentum is the key to progress. Big thinkers understand this. They don't allow the size of their dream to paralyze them. They break it down into manageable pieces and commit to showing up every day. As Confucius said, it does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. Each small step you take is a building block for bigger dreams. Consistency, not speed, is what matters most on the journey. Another thought is if we're going to become big thinkers and we're going to overcome this small, limited thinking, we are going to have to learn to let go of the jar. Just like the fireflies in the jar, we all have our own mental cages. The belief that you're not smart enough, the belief that you're not experienced enough, the belief that others are lucky and you're not. Maybe your jar is labeled fear of failure. Maybe it's labeled fear of rejection. Maybe it's labeled fear of judgment. These jars hold us back, dimming our light and limiting our potential. But here's the truth. You're sitting in a jar without a lid. You don't need to ask anyone's permission to break free. You just need to remember that you can fly. And sometimes it takes a gentle shake to remind ourselves of what we are truly capable of. Sometimes that shake looks like a new challenge. Sometimes that shake looks like an inspiring mentor. Sometimes that shake can even be a failure that is forcing you to grow. Whatever it is, embrace it. Use it as a reminder that your potential isn't defined by limitations. It's defined by your willingness to rise above them. Small thinking may try to keep you grounded, but you were made to soar. Like the fireflies set free from the jar, your light shines brightest when you let go of fear and embrace your full potential. So recognize the signs, surround yourself with big thinkers, take small steps towards your big dreams, and most importantly, remember this: the jar was never meant to define you. You were always meant to fly. Always remember that growth is a journey. It's not a destination. I'm in it with you, and I'll see you on the next one.